In this video, we will show you how to replace your front lower ball joint on this Honda Civic. This is part of your front steering and suspension, located behind your front wheel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do, safely raise and support the front of your vehicle so the wheel's off the ground and the suspension is hanging. To remove the wheel, we're going to remove all 5 of our 19mm lug nuts and we can get the wheel off of here. A quick inspection of all hardware as we continue on. Now that we have the wheel off, it's a good idea to turn the wheel towards the side of the vehicle that you're working on so you can gain access towards that lower ball joint upper mounting nut. We're going to start removing the locking clip for this. Sometimes it'll be a cotter pin, other times it's going to look a little bit different. This one still looks like it has the original clip on it, which has a small hook. Let's get that out of there, quick inspection, set it aside. Now we can start removing our 17mm mounting nut. What you're going to find as you start removing this is it's going to go all the way up to the axle here. So once it makes its way up as far as possible, you're going to have to break the ball joint free from the steering knuckle to continue on with the removal. Now the nut's pretty much completely broken free here. We can't get it out of there because of that axle as I mentioned before, so let's continue on. Now we're pausing up there, we're going to make our way directly underneath the lower control arm. This is where you can see the hardware for the lower ball joint holding it in place to that control arm. We'll be using a 17mm for each of these 2 mounting nuts and the mounting bolt. Let's start with the bolt. Should be able to take hold of that lower control arm and start pulling it down and away, separating the ball joint studs from it. There we are. Just pivot that away from the lower control arm. Now we can separate that lower ball joint from the steering knuckle. Continuing from here, we're going to be using a hammer and pickle fork. We'll put the pickle fork into this area and we'll lightly bonk on that pickle fork with our hammer. There's our ball joint mounting nut. We can dispose of that properly. Remove the pickle fork and the ball joint. There it is, friend. With that out of place, we need to clean and inspect our control arm and our steering knuckle. We'll just carefully use a rag for this. You want to be careful for any small metal fragments that could potentially cut or hurt you in some way. Just give it a quick wipe. Make sure nothing's damaged. It's time for installation of our brand new lower ball joint. Let's start installing this. We're going to take that stud, we'll slide it straight up through that steering knuckle. Go ahead and start on your ball joint mounting nut. We are not going to tighten that yet. Now that we have that on there, we're going to have to pivot this ball joint out of the way so we can pull down on the control arm. Once we have that down, we're going to align the studs for the ball joint with their corresponding ports on that control arm and allow it to make its way up. Careful for any pinch points here. Now we'll start on each of these 2 mounting nuts. Once you have both of those started on, we're going to have to continue on with our mounting bolt. When you go to install this, we need to make sure we're going in as straight as possible. If you're off kilter in some way, it may bind or even cross thread into the wrong position. If you find you have a hard time, you can flex things to make it align properly. Now we can start snugging and torquing the mounting hardware. We're starting down along the bottom here. The brand new mounting nuts are 18mm mounting nuts, and as for that mounting bolt, we'll be using a 15mm. The torque is going to be the same. We're torquing it to 44 foot-pounds. Now that those are torqued, let's make our way above that steering knuckle so we can start tightening our 18mm lower ball joint mounting nut. Just want to make sure my ratcheting wrench isn't going to get stuck in this area. The torque for this nut is 50 foot-pounds. To torque this, I'm going to be using an 18mm crow's foot. Let's try to get this on here. There we are. Now that we have that snug, the next thing we have to do is pay attention to the slots on the mounting nut in comparison to the port on the ball joint stud. They need to be aligned so we can install our locking cotter pin. If it's not aligned, continue tightening until the very next slot is, and then install that cotter pin. Mine's not aligned, so I'm going to continue tightening this. We have our cotter pin. Once you have that through, continue on by pining it over. I'm going to use some cutters to grab onto this. You can use pliers if you need to. One last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our wheel. Once you have your wheel in place, continue on with installing all 5 of your 19mm lug nuts. We'll start them on, bottom them out, get the wheel back on the ground, and we can torque each of these to 80 foot-pounds. And now we've got the wheel on the ground, we can continue on torquing these to that 80 foot-pounds in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Okay friend, we finished the installation of our lower ball joint. At this point, you want to go ahead and take your vehicle for a road test, listen for any odd noises, and get yourself safely down to your local alignment shop. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.